Welcome to the Nation of History channel. Be sure to subscribe and like so you don't miss out on more videos like this one. What remains of the South Tower of the World Trade Center symbolizes the enormous impact of September 2001 in New York. This tragic event caused changes in global security and international policy, intensifying responses to threats. The remains of the structure show the urgency of rebuilding and remembrance. The Holodomor of 1933 was a severe food shortage caused by Soviet policy that hit Ukraine hard, including cities such as Kharkiv. Thousands of peasants were deeply affected by the forced removal of grain. This episode left deep marks on society and shaped 20th century Ukrainian history. Two boys crossed the well-known Sniper Alley in Sarajevo with a dog in 1995 during the siege of the city in the Bosnian War. This conflict marked the end of socialist Yugoslavia, bringing a strong human impact and high international visibility, reinforcing global humanitarian mobilization. The events in Tiananmen Square in 1989 marked a decisive moment in China when the government harshly suppressed pro-democracy demonstrations led mainly by students. The action caused many deaths, strengthened political control, and limited public freedom in the country. Photographers prepare to document atomic tests at Bikini Atoll in 1946, a milestone of the nuclear era after World War II. These visual records were crucial for monitoring the effects of the explosions and influencing international control policies, signaling the impact of this technology during the Cold War. The destruction of a bookstore in London, caused by an air raid in 1940, shows the impact of World War II on civilian life. This event was part of the Blitz, a period of intense German attacks that devastated the city and permanently changed its daily life and cultural heritage. The war deeply transformed the British capital. Men in suits look at the remains of an automobile at the site of the Wall Street explosion of September 16, 1920, an event that caused deaths and dozens of injuries. This incident marked an intensification of the fight against anarchism in the United States, reflecting the social and political tensions of the time. A United States Air Force lieutenant appears in the custody of a North Vietnamese soldier in 1967 during the Vietnam War, a major conflict that marked the intensification of political struggles in Southeast Asia and strongly influenced international politics and the realignment of global powers. Recently released war detainees celebrate the departure of their C-141A aircraft from Hanoi, North Vietnam, symbolizing the close of the conflict after the signing of the Paris Peace Agreement on January 27, 1973, a crucial milestone that established a halt to hostilities and the return of detainees to their country, strengthening the search for reconciliation. Women holding positions in the war industry in England in 1942 illustrate social change during World War II, when the shortage of men led many women to take factory jobs, contributing decisively to the war effort and expanding the female role in the British economy and society. Women workers at Coventry Ordnance Works in England played an essential role in weapons production during 1914, the year World War I began, transforming industry and encouraging the entry of women into industrial labor, marking an important social advance. The Finnish war flag raised on April 27, 1945, at the point where Norway, Sweden, and Finland meet, symbolizes the end of World War II for Finland, confirming peace and marking a new phase in relations among the Nordic countries after years of regional conflict. A father and son from the same German regiment read letters from their wives in an operations area in 1915 during World War I. This conflict, marked by large-scale fighting and the use of new technologies, transformed modern warfare and had deep consequences for world geopolitics. The period shaped the 20th century by changing borders and governments. The preparation of a portable flamethrower to destroy locusts in Palestine reveals a militarized method of agricultural control during World War I in 1915. This technique shows the seriousness of the infestations and their direct impact on food security in the region under Ottoman administration. The Tacoma Narrows Bridge, known as Galloping Gertie, collapsed on November 7, 1940 in Washington because of resonance caused by strong winds. This event marked a crucial advance in civil engineering by showing the need to consider aerodynamic motion in the design of suspension bridges, changing modern construction practices. The solitary presence of an African-American man at a rally by an extremist group in Jackson, Mississippi in 1950 shows the strong racial tension in the United States after the war. This period was marked by harder segregation, which would later help trigger the civil rights movement and transform the struggle for equality in the country. In Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, in 1917, a boy pushes a cart near the tracks while collecting pieces of coal left behind in the freight yard. The scene records a common practice among poor families who reused fuel for daily needs. The photo also reveals child labor and urban inequality during the period. Nellie Blanche Lane, recognized in July 1922 as the heaviest woman in the world at about 641.5 pounds, standing beside Clarence Chesterfield Howerton, the shortest man at about 28 inches tall, highlighted the era's extreme human diversity. This record drew attention to debates about health and physical conditions, reflecting society's fascination with bodily differences. In the Meuse Valley region of Belgium in the early 1900s, a worker opens a crucible in a steel plant while handling metal at high temperature. The scene records a demanding stage of heavy industrial production. The photo also helps show protective gear, machinery, and working conditions of the time. French grinders in the early 20th century, like those linked to Maison Fondée on 1664, kept alive a trade founded in 1664 and rooted in tiers, a world reference in cutlery. They worked lying face down to avoid back pain, showing the harsh manual labor of the era. In 1906, in the United States, a farmer who did not join the Tobacco Growers Association appears surrounded by members of the Night Riders, a group tied to pressure in the countryside. The record documents rural disputes over prices and market control. The photo helps explain agricultural tensions in the early 20th century. The three-wheeled car of 1948 represents the technological optimism that followed World War II, when automotive innovations aimed for efficiency and modernity. This futuristic model reflected the search for economical and streamlined vehicles, influencing compact designs that would later become more common in the global auto industry. Chinese immigrant families, like the one photographed in Oregon in the late 19th century, faced discrimination during the era of Chinese exclusion in the United States, which began with the Chinese Exclusion Act of 1882. This law restricted the entry of Chinese workers and affected the social and economic life of these communities. Elephant and Castle Station in London served as an underground shelter during World War II, especially in 1941, when the city faced intense air attacks. These spaces saved thousands of lives by protecting civilians from the impact of the raids, marking one of the essential defensive strategies for urban survival during the conflict. Union veterans share stories with Boy Scouts during the 75th anniversary of the Battle of Gettysburg, an event held in 1938. That battle, crucial in 1863 during the American Civil War, marked a turning point that stopped the expansion of the slaveholding South. The commemoration strengthened historical memory and youth education. Australian soldiers faced the intense Dardanelles campaign in 1915, where the phrase "no man left behind" symbolizes the commitment to leave no comrade behind. This crucial World War I operation changed military strategy and highlighted the strong sense of unity among the fighters. A German car with spring wheels in 1917 reflects technological advances during World War I, when automotive engineering adapted for greater durability and mobility on difficult terrain. This development influenced military and civilian transport at the time, modernizing vehicles of that era. The loading of 1946 Ford vehicles for delivery reflects the return of automotive production after World War II, when American industry resumed making civilian cars, driving the economy and mass consumer culture. This period marked the beginning of modernization in transportation and the auto industry, shaping post-war life. The Ford assembly line in Building B of the Rouge Complex in Dearborn, Michigan, in 1946 symbolizes the return of industrial production in the United States after World War II. This milestone highlighted the shift from war industry to consumer goods, driving economic growth and prosperity in the decades that followed. President Richard Milhous Nixon arrived aboard the United States ship Hornet for the recovery of Apollo 11 in 1969, a historic milestone in the United States moon landing. This operation symbolized American technological progress and space dominance during the race against the Soviet Union, strengthening the country's global prestige. Tom Stafford was the commander of Apollo 10, launched in May 1969, which served as the dress rehearsal for the moon landing. The mission tested maneuvers essential for landing on the moon, which were crucial to the success of Apollo 11 in July 1969, a defining milestone in the space race. Neil Armstrong, 5 years after commanding Apollo 11, the mission that took humanity to the moon in 1969, was teaching aerospace engineering at the University of Cincinnati in 1974. His role as an educator was important in inspiring new generations and pushing advances in space exploration and aerospace technology. The presidential motorcade of November 21, 1963 in Houston, Texas, marks the second to last day of John F. Kennedy's presidency before his death in Dallas the next day. This event had a deep impact on American history, leading to changes in presidential security and national politics. The British airship R-33 is photographed in its hangar at Barlow Airfield in Yorkshire as it prepares for its first flight in 1919. This milestone represents post-World War I technological progress, highlighting the use of safer and more efficient aircraft for scouting and transportation. Xavier Mertz took part in the Australasian Antarctic expedition, led by Douglas Mawson in the early 20th century. In 1912, he was lost in an icy region and became one of the members who did not return. This episode showed the extreme conditions of polar exploration and marked an important chapter in the history of Antarctic exploration. Frank Ballou, Samuel Peterson, and Elliot Weisbrod test a protective shield in the early 20th century, a period when police and operational safety began adopting innovative equipment. Weisbrod's invention anticipated advances in personal protection that were essential for improving safety in high-risk situations. The mass shaving machine, invented in the 19th century, revolutionized personal hygiene by allowing several people to be served at the same time quickly, safely, and easily. This advance made group grooming easier in public spaces, reflecting changes in the social and technological routine of the era. The Hanson writing ball typewriter, invented in 1865, marked a major technological advance by making mechanical writing faster and more efficient. Its innovative design influenced the development of written communication devices, speeding up administrative and business processes in the 19th century, and still echoing into modern times. A famous black and white photograph of Albert Einstein sticking out his tongue was auctioned for $125,000, reflecting the lasting cultural impact of the 20th century physicist. The photo, taken in 1951, humanized Einstein and made him a symbol of approachable and playful genius for the public. That moment expanded his image beyond science. Moshe Safdie designed Habitat 67, a modular housing complex presented at Expo 67 in Montreal that became a landmark of modern architecture by combining social housing with innovative design. This work challenged traditional ideas, influencing future sustainable urban construction and emphasizing modular design and shared living. The presence of the old truck carrying an object with oval windows, linked to the word future at Riverside Plast, reflects the optimistic vision of the future that was typical of the 1960s and 1970s. That era was marked by technological advances and growing interest in futuristic industrial design, which strongly influenced the automotive industry and global popular culture. Thomas Coleman DuPont built the Stoddard Dayton camping car in 1910, a time marked by automotive innovation that pushed individual mobility forward. This vehicle is an early example of cars adapted for leisure, anticipating the rise of road travel tourism and mobile camping, which would transform recreation in the 20th century. Land auctions in California in 1904 reflected territorial expansion and economic development in the American West. The formal sale of lots made urban growth possible and attracted immigrants, helping strengthen the advance of the American frontier and contributing to the creation of new communities. Wells Fargo and Company was essential for transportation and communication in the 19th century United States, especially during the California Gold Rush. Its fast freight line represented the quickest route to the east, making trade and territorial expansion easier, which was crucial for economic development and the integration of the country's regions. Families in Arizona around 1889 faced the challenging period of the American Old West, marked by advancing settlement and railroad expansion. This context was crucial to the region's development, making economic and social integration with the rest of the United States possible and shaping local cultural identity. In Corinne, Box Elder County, Utah, around 1869, a business street brings together hardware stores, jewelry shops, and paint businesses in simple wooden buildings. The town grew with railroad expansion in the American West. The photo records local commerce and the beginning of urbanization on the frontier. In North Dakota, United States, in 1909, the Arikara warrior, known as Bear's Belly, was photographed by Edward Curtis wearing a robe and fur adornment. The photo is part of the series on Indigenous peoples of North America. The record helps document ceremonial clothing, identity, and cultural memory of the period. Kiowa dancers display traditional clothing in Oklahoma Territory in 1902, a time when assimilation policies threatened indigenous cultures. This record shows native cultural resistance by preserving ceremonies and rituals, maintaining identity in the face of colonial pressure that was reshaping the United States. The 1872 portrait shows a Sioux man identified as Onka Papa, highlighting indigenous culture during the turbulent period after the United States Civil War. This era revealed conflict between Native people and settlers, leading to Sioux resistance. Records like this preserve history and cultural legacy threatened by American expansion. The Aztec Sunstone, recorded in 1886, is an essential archaeological landmark that revealed the complex worldview and advanced astronomical knowledge of the Aztec civilization. Its discovery contributed to the study of pre-Columbian cultures, showing the symbolic richness and solar calendar used for ritual practice and agriculture. On the island of Gotland in Sweden, the Stora Hammar's the first stone, dated to the 7th century, shows carved scenes that scholars connect to rituals, combat, and beliefs of the Viking Age. The monument is one of the most debated images in ancient Norse art. The piece helps explain symbols, visual storytelling, and religion of the period. The Swedish woman photographed in the Uddevalla studio reflects 19th century style, when photography increasingly began to record everyday life. The opening of the first photography studio in Sweden in 1841 helped popularize this art form, making it possible to preserve memories and aspects of Swedish culture. A man and his daughter appear with a penny farthing bicycle, common in England around 1900, when this invention marked an advance in personal transportation. This bicycle, with its huge front wheel, symbolizes the beginning of the rise of cycling, which influenced urban mobility and leisure in the Victorian era, a significant cultural milestone in the United Kingdom. Parents and children taking relaxed photos in the early 20th century reflect cultural changes in family relationships and growing access to personal photography. In the 1910s, this informal kind of record became a milestone in the democratization of photography, allowing more spontaneous and intimate memories. In View Park, Los Angeles, children played at making movies in 1928, a time when the film industry in the United States was becoming a cultural powerhouse. This period came just before the shift from silent movies to sound, a major turning point that transformed entertainment and helped Hollywood become the global center of cinema. During rest time in a 20th century kindergarten, children are seen lying on the floor while the teacher sits nearby with classroom materials. The scene records a common early education practice of the time. This moment helped organize the daily routine and group care. In a one-room school in the early 20th century United States, children of different ages study in the same space under the guidance of a single teacher. This model was common in rural areas, where there were fewer resources and a scattered population. The photo records simple teaching methods and the school routine of the time. At Wimbledon in 1883, the tournament's first international match took place, marking the beginning of foreign participation in the British competition. The scene shows grass courts, a crowd gathered around, and players in the white clothing typical of the time. The event helped establish tennis as an international sport. Margaret and Matilda Peters, known as Pete and Repeat, stood out in college tennis in 1937 while attending Tuskegee University, a milestone in the history of African American women's sports. They opened the way for future generations, such as Venus and Serena Williams, promoting racial inclusion and female leadership in tennis. Women relax on a golf course in 1926, a period when the sport began gaining popularity among the urban middle class, and women started seeking greater social freedom, reflected in the relaxed setting. This decade was marked by changing customs, opening space for new experiences and greater female independence. Women working as mechanics in 1964 reflected social change and the growing female presence in traditionally male fields. This progress marked the beginning of major changes in gender relations, promoting greater inclusion in the workforce and challenging the era's rigid stereotypes. Using dogs to pull small milk delivery carts was common in the early 20th century, especially in rural parts of Europe, making short-distance transport easier before motor vehicles became widespread. This method helped local food distribution and influenced the growth of the dairy trade. The inspection of barrels to guarantee cleanliness and quality before Guinness beer was filled reflects the strict quality control practices of the brewing industry in the early 20th century. This procedure was essential for maintaining the standard of the traditional recipe and strengthening Guinness's worldwide reputation as a symbol of Irish beer. At the beginning of the 1900s, a Rainier advertisement showed an elderly man and a young girl under the phrase that the drink would be good for the young and the old. The piece reflects the advertising of the time, when this type of product was promoted with family and wellness appeals, a practice that would later face more criticism. Small businesses like Victory Taxi Service appeared in American cities after World War II, taking advantage of the growth of personal transportation. Heavy clothing and the architectural style point to the post-1945 period, when urban mobility increased, representing the economic and social progress of the time. In 1948, in California, customers appear at the first McDonald's, a landmark of the fast service model that would change food culture in the United States. The menu features simple items and low prices for the time. The location helped popularize standardized production and quick service. In a 20th century Motorola advertisement, a television with remote control is presented as a symbol of comfort and modern life at home. The advertisement highlights the idea of watching from a distance, which was a novelty for many households at that time. The image records the expansion of consumer electronics and television culture. A Boy Making a Friend at the London Zoo in 1958 reveals the atmosphere of rebuilding and hope in England after World War II, when leisure in public spaces helped restore normal life for families. This moment reflects the growing value placed on contact with nature and childhood in British society at the time. Princess Elizabeth, at age 10, appears with her corgi Dookie during the 1930s, before becoming Queen Elizabeth II in 1952. Her childhood shown in this photo reveals the importance of her personal upbringing in the period before political changes in the United Kingdom and around the world after World War II. Sophia Loren, a standout figure in Italian cinema, symbolizes the glamour of Venice in 1955, a time when Italian neorealism influenced world cinema. Her prominence helped project Italian film internationally, linking sophistication with post-war culture. This phase marked Italy's consolidation as a global artistic center. Sophia Loren, the Italian star who became an icon of world cinema, appears in a 1955 photograph beside her sister Anna Maria Villani Schiccolone. This period marked the beginning of the actress's rise, as her talent and beauty influenced popular culture and strengthened the standing of European cinema after World War II. Shirley Ann Field stood out in British cinema in the early 1960s, a period marked by cultural and artistic renewal that influenced fashion and behavior. Her image symbolizes this time of transition when movies began to reflect the values and youthful freedom of the era, contributing to the cultural energy of the United Kingdom. Sophia Loren became an icon of world cinema when she won the Academy Award in 1962 for her performance in Two Women, a milestone that broke barriers for foreign actresses in Hollywood. Her career symbolizes strong female presence and the growing value of European cinema on the global stage, influencing future generations. Debbie Harry symbolizes the cultural energy of the late 1970s, a period when Blondie represented the peak of punk and new wave. In 1978, they helped transform popular music, influencing a generation with their innovative mix of rock, punk, and pop, which expanded the creative limits of the era. Danny Trejo and Antonio Banderas acted together in the film Desperado, released in 1995, a notable action movie that strengthened Robert Rodriguez's style. The film influenced popular culture in the 1990s by mixing intense scenes with humor, opening the way for new independent filmmakers in the international market. Around 1960 in France, Mireille d'Arc appears in a promotional portrait made at the beginning of her acting career. The image was produced in a studio with a planned pose for artistic promotion and circulation in magazines and movie materials. The record also shows the hairstyle, clothing, and visual style of the era. Grace Kelly stood out in the 1950s as an icon of elegance in film and fashion before becoming Princess of Monaco. Her influence helped shape the aesthetic and cultural standards of the era, marking a glamorous period that left a lasting impact on the movie industry and global fashion. The woman wearing permanent wave rollers reflects the progress of the beauty industry in 1940, a time marked by the growing popularity of hair care products. The look of the early beauty salons modernized women's lives, reinforcing autonomy and the growing value of female self-esteem in society. In 1971, Josef Budnovich recorded the building of the Council of Ministers and the Supreme Council of the Uzbek Soviet Socialist Republic, a symbol of Soviet government in the region. This period marked the Soviet presence, shaping policy and modernist architecture that influenced local social and political development. The election campaign for the Supreme Soviet of the Soviet Union on March 14, 1954, aimed to mobilize citizens to choose their representatives. This vote marked an important moment in strengthening political control under the socialist system while reinforcing public participation in the country's political institutions. A sailor introduces a new cat on board, highlighting the importance of felines as companions and rat hunters on ships in the early 20th century. In 1910, these animals were essential for crew health and food preservation, representing a traditional and practical naval custom. The classic military uniform shows respect for historical figures whose memories live on in monuments, symbolizing struggles and values that shaped the 20th century. These tributes reinforce the importance of collective remembrance in building identity and historical awareness. A couple keeps a lasting bond by posing with the same motorcycle in photos taken 60 years apart, from 1955 to 2015. This record highlights cultural change across the decades, showing the evolution of clothing and technology. The connection between past and present symbolizes the lasting nature of personal relationships in a constantly changing world. In Hamburg-Altona, Germany, in the early 1900s, a firefighter appears wearing the Koenig smoke helmet during a drill with water streams. The equipment was meant to protect the face and breathing during fires and training. The photo records an early stage in technical progress in firefighting and crew safety. Walt Disney records the voice of Mickey Mouse beside Clarence Nash, the voice of Donald Duck, in 1945, a crucial moment in strengthening characters that would shape global popular culture. This recording helped expand animated entertainment after World War II and influenced generations. If you enjoyed this video and want to support the channel, please use the Super Thanks tool below. Your contribution helps us keep bringing you amazing historical content. Thank you so much for your support, and see you in the next video.